You know how I was just saying, well, I'll do 3 videos today, and unless I got to run out to my car and give you some breaking news or something important, yeah, I'll just do, you'll just see my 3 videos today. Yeah, so scratch that as far as 3 videos go, and yes, I'm coming out here because I need to tell you something. Oh my gosh. Horrible black and white photo, or print, but take a little gander at that. This is Ethereum on the Coinbase exchange. These are the numbers from Coinbase, not Kraken. I have Kraken up too. Kraken has not seen these kind of numbers yet. It's trailing behind Coinbase. So on Coinbase, there's much more of, I guess, a panic to own Ethereum than on Kraken. However, I think on Kraken it was like 408 or 409 or something, maybe was the high, I think. Matter of fact, I don't even know if it hit 400, to tell you the truth. I should have printed that one too. But nonetheless, this is Coinbase, and this is 420. And this was just, what time was that? Right around 6 a.m. Between 6 and almost 6:30, but call it about 6:20 a.m. That's what we have over here. This is $420. It's actually like $419. This is Ethereum. And I was just telling you the story about my good pal Frank, man. Frank, get the account set up on Coinbase, put some money in there, and buy something. Well, when I get back, I'll be back next week, and I'll get that transferred over. But you can throw a credit card on there today. Yeah, well, when we had that conversation, which was just last week, Thursday, I think, or maybe Friday. I'll have to go back and look at the charts, but yeah, I think Bitcoin, Ethereum was heading into the 300s at that moment, or close to it. I don't know if it was into it or just past it or whatever. It was right around there. It's now 420, 419, 6:20, 25 this morning, somewhere around there, Eastern time. Ethereum. Oh my freaking goodness. Oh my freaking goodness. And another thing I want to talk to you about. In the Bitcoin June report from Webbot, talking about from June, the one that was released at the end of May, technically, for June. We don't do summaries on those, etc. But whenever I see a Webbot hit come out of there, I will read that paragraph or whatever to let you know. Boom, this is what it said. However, I didn't print that paragraph. It's a small paragraph because he lists Cliff High in that report, the June Bitcoin crypto report, all of the different cryptos that the bot has been focused on, that's been coming back with, watch these cryptos. So when it got to Dash Coin, it talked about, Dash living up to its name ultimately, and dashing up, along with the rest of the other cryptos, it'll live up to its name. However, look for news regarding multiple, like higher level, whatever, politician type resignations all in one day. It'll either be in the US or the UK, he says. In the report, he says this. And that'll be a point in time where you're going to see Dash kind of fall a little bit, falter. Not to be too concerned, because it will ultimately recover. Lo and behold, as you heard, Theresa May's top 2 people resigned the same day, yada, 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 over in the UK. And at the same time frame, it said, look at this as a temporal marker, that type of event as a temporal marker for Dash to start going down the tubes. And oh my goodness, Dash started going down the tubes. Not heavy, but 5, 6 something % loss. I almost want to say when I saw it one time it was 8%, and then maybe recovered a little bit, but don't quote me on that one, because I'm looking at so many freaking charts and whatever. I know it was at least 5 point something because I just saw it a minute ago. But it was tanking kind of hard, and it happened right around the same time that we're looking for some political resignations, higher level, etc. On the same day, it says either in the US or UK, United Kingdom, not Eurozone, United Kingdom. Theresa May's country, right? And that's where this happened. So that was interesting, because that is a Webbot hit. And I want to tell you about the price of Ethereum going absolutely crazy. Absolutely flipping crazy right now. So I want you to think of something. When Ethereum was 200, I don't know, 50, 60 bucks, not that long ago, people were on the Ether Delta exchange making trades 5 to 1, 4 to 1, some of them, right? There was even some in there for 3 to 1. But anyways, those people who flip those Veritassium on the Ether Delta exchange into Ethereum, because that's the only way you can buy and sell it is through Ethereum or for Ethereum, they're now sitting on a stack of Ethereum that they just got at 250, 60 bucks when they flipped the Veritassium into this. And now it has gone from 260 or 50, or hell, it could have been lower when they made the trades. Could have been 220, 230, whatever. I'm just giving you a number. 250. It's now worth 420 on Coinbase. So that's the other thing I need to tell you about. If you guys are going to start trading and moving these things around and trying to make moves with these cryptos, I use tradingview.com. I've showed you that a few times because I can pick all the symbols of all the coins and say, okay, I want this one, this one, this one. But if you notice on the top right on TradingView, where you can add the symbols that you want to watch, like if you type in ETH for Ethereum, ETH, it'll pop up a giant list. And they'll show you some conversions, ETH to this, ETH to that, ETH to USD, as in dollars. Another one, ETH to USD. Why is there two? Because one is tied to the Coinbase exchange, one's tied to the Kraken exchange. So you can literally put both of them on there. You'll have two symbols that are the same. If you hover your mouse over it, you'll see which one is which one's Kraken, which one's Coinbase, and you will see the price difference. So, in theory, right? In theory, somebody who wanted to skim off the top, so to speak, if you could figure this out and also determine how much am I going to lose transferring. Well, let me tell you what it is first. Transfer, for example, if there's a huge spread difference of what's the selling price on Kraken versus Coinbase, let's say. So for all intents and purposes, let's say Kraken is showing Ethereum selling at 400 bucks. But you go and check Coinbase and their chart, it's saying it's right now selling for 420. You're saying, well, I've got 20 Ethereum right now. There's a $20 difference. If I move, or wherever my, I'll sell all my 20. Let's say you have it in a wallet. I'll sell my 20. I'll transfer them over to Coinbase. Place a sell order, all of them, 20. Boom. Let's say you get $420 for all of them. Okay. You then go over to Kraken and do a buy order for 20. The only issue here, though, is that you've got US dollars over in the Coinbase exchange that you'd like to push over into the Kraken exchange, and you can't do that. You can't just move money over. So you'd want to buy some at Kraken and then transfer them and sell them over at Bitcoin. So in other words, don't sell your Bitcoin that you already have your Ethereum. Don't sell your Ethereum over at Coinbase that you already have. In fact, place a new order on Kraken, meaning you better have your bank account or whatever attached to it so you can do this, move the money over, make a couple trades, as in buy some Ethereum at Kraken. As soon as the transaction's done, I believe in Kraken, as soon as the transaction's done, they're in your account. Like you have them. There's no waiting period. So once they're in your account, you just move them over to Coinbase, right, through a wallet address. You're going to move them, transfer out of Kraken. So you go to withdraw, and you pick Ethereum. And then you say, okay, what address do you want to withdraw it to or send it to? You're going to put your Coinbase address over there, hit transfer, and however long that takes, it takes. Once it goes over there, then you can do a sell order over at Coinbase to make more money. So you're buying low, selling high, buying low, selling high. The problem, though, and I'm not going to do this. I'm not doing this, by the way, but I know that some of you are probably thinking about it, so that's what I'm telling you. The problem is, what is the fee that the exchange just charged me over at Kraken to buy these and then transfer? There's always a little gas fee to transfer coin from one wallet to the other, whatever. There's always that fee built into the blockchain. So what does that fee equate to moving them over there? And if I'm trying to make $20, is there wiggle room in there to make 15 bucks or so? Maybe $5 is gone in fees or whatever. If that's the case, you're making $15 a pop by buying over here Kraken and selling over in Coinbase. For $15, though, is it worth one Ethereum that's now 400 bucks for you to make $15? In the normal business world, if you can flip $400 into 15, $400 into 15, $400 into 15, normally you'd say, oh, well, yeah, let's do it all day long. But you ain't going to be able to just do it all day long unless you've got a giant supply of cash over here constantly buying from Kraken and then selling over to Coinbase. Because, again, you're going to build up cash reserves over at Coinbase here shortly because that's where all the cash is going to be stored because you're selling on Coinbase. Which means then you do what? Either buy back into cryptos or take the cash and put it in your bank account. And then once it's done transferring to your bank account, take it back out of your bank account, put it in a Kraken, and rinse and repeat. The issue is going to be this may not be normal. We may find that they flip at some point, and all of a sudden Kraken has a better price than Coinbase, or again, vice versa. I haven't even looked at Gemini, but that's the other thing, and I know it's confusing because when people see a price of something, like for example, when I say the price of silver today is $17.09, the club has knocked it down 20 cents again, which actually I think they have. I don't know if it was 20 cents, but they knocked it down. It's like $17.09 now. But it's one exchange pretty much setting the price, and that's the COMEX. There's one exchange setting the price. It's the COMEX, end of story. So with these cryptos, there's Kraken, that's an exchange. They have their pricing because it's whatever action's happening on that exchange. You have Coinbase, completely separate exchange, which has completely separate pricing. Generally, they're going to be around the same, right? I mean, generally, that's how it's going to work. But as you can see, there's a pretty big jump right now. And actually, on Kraken, while this says the latest was 405, you know, it hit this big one over here, 419, then 405. Kraken was under that. Kraken was, I want to say, 377 or so, I think. Because it was going down at the moment. So that was potentially a $30-something spread from just the two exchanges. But again, I don't know that I would want to try to play that, or, you know, again, I'm enjoying just sitting back watching this thing move to these insane prices and knowing, at least we think we know anyways, that when Veritassium comes out and a so-and-so exchange says we're going to run it, we're going to list it. Again, if we think we got this right, Cliff High, the Webbot, myself, people who've been chatting about this, and we see some great movement of numbers in ratios to Ethereum, such as 4-to-1, even 5-to-1, or crazy enough 3-to-1, boy, would I be happy. Just imagine this. It's already 420, at least on Coinbase, right? It may not be on an exchange for another 2 to 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So let's just assume, I'm going to throw this out there. Let's say, and this isn't far-fetched because you've already seen what Ethereum has done. 210, 260, 300, now it's 420 in a matter of what, 2 weeks? Oh my goodness. So I'm going to throw out a $500 number, which is what the Webbot said would be coming anyways, 534 or something like that. But I'm just going to go 500 even. $500. If we get 4-to-1, first of all, let's go 5-to-1 because that's even easier math, right? And that's not enough, and that's not too outrageous, I don't think. 5-to-1 with Ethereum, Veritassium, and it's $500. That means $100, $100 per Veritassium you'll be able to sell. And I know how many I have, and I'm not going to tell you the exact amount right this second, but I'll tell you, it's hundreds. I do have hundreds, many hundreds. So in my head, oh, if I had 500 times $100, $50,000. If I had 900, $90,000. That's correct. Wow. What if it goes to 4-to-1? How many 4s are in let's see, 4-to-1 would be about $1.25, right? So 125 times 500 of these coins, or times 900 of these coins, or times 600, whatever you have, instead of 100 times, 125 times. Again, if it goes to 3-to-1, oh my gosh, right? So that's what we're looking forward to. It's not to say that it happens, and here's something to think about. I know that a lot of times, some of these ICOs, these initial coin offerings, they come and they finally get listed on the market, and right off the bat, there's a ton of selling and the price drops. But a lot of these coins are not what Veritassium is. They're just simply everybody doing the same old thing. Oh, ICO, hey, sell, buy, sell. Okay, yep. Lots of volume, sell, came back up, so, came down, up. But I think Veritassium's a little bit different. If you look at what it's, these smart contracts and stuff, it's kind of its own thing. I know there's other ones coming out trying to replicate it to an extent and do slightly different, all that crap. Like Cliff High said in his reports, you're going to see scam coins and tons of ICOs coming out. Again, ICO meaning initial coin offering, kind of like an IPO. We all jumped in to Veritassium. We've seen it exchanging on the Ether Delta exchange for 4-to-1, 5-to-1, 6-to-1, 10-to-1. It used to be 33-to-1. So talk about massive profits. But again, I said I don't want to mess with that exchange. It's extremely difficult to use and to figure out, and you can make a mistake, and it can be devastating. I'm not touching that damn thing. I'm going to wait until an exchange lists it. And again, it could be Kraken, it could be Poloniex, it could be Bittrex, who knows. But if anybody hears, Jason Netman, I heard, finally, here's official statement from such and such exchange, they're going to list Veritassium. You send me that email faster than the speed of light. I'd appreciate that. Just so we all can be updated immediately, as soon as possible. And I'll do the video. Hey, breaking news, guess what? Veritassium's going to be listed at such and such exchange. And here's the beauty of that. If you and I and everybody else that's holding Veritassium, in our minds are saying to ourselves, we're not letting this go for pennies or even dollars. No, sir. We do think it's worth 5 to 1 minimum, maybe 4 to 1. All the initial burst of orders for sell orders are going to be us at 5 to 1, 4 to 1. Whatever we decide we think the thing's worth, right? That's what you do in an exchange. I'm going to list it for what I think it's worth. And that's what I'm going to ultimately do. I'm going to put a sell order out there when they come in. I may not do all mine at once, but I'm going to do a maybe a little bit of a healthy order, sell order. This is the exchange rate I'm asking, 4 to 1 or 5 to 1, whatever hell I decide at the time, and have a nice day. Could you imagine if by chance Ethereum at that time is like $600? 600 bucks. Oh my gosh. And I'm getting 4 to 1 or 5 to 1. Again, even it's not going to be too upset. It almost doesn't matter what price Ethereum is at the time when you exchange the Veritassium for it, because as long as Ethereum's going up, that's all that matters. So even if you did a massive conversion when Veritassium was going 5 to 1 or 4 to 1 with Ethereum recently, and you used the Ether Delta exchange while it was like 250 bucks for Ethereum, you still got the same conversion ratio. So if you happen to get 50 Ethereum for your Veritassium, let's say, you still have 50 Ethereum. It doesn't matter if it's $300, $250, $384, $420 today, or $500 and $600 in the near future. You still have 50 Ethereum, right? So it doesn't really matter. That's the point. But all I know is I don't see myself selling these things for cheap. Like, I think all of us are probably in the same agreement that, no, I may put a 4 to 1 order out there, but I don't know. Some of us may say the hell with it, 5 to 1. We'll just go 5 to 1. It'll all depend on what's happening on that day and what we all see, I guess, as orders. But I'm not giving mine away. Not a chance in hell. So I just want to share those few things with you. Incredible burst, $419, back down to 408 or 405 at that particular moment. I printed that. That's not to say Kraken will show the same thing as I told you. So anyway, just a little update. This is just insane. This is really insane when you actually think of how many, cryptos you own, or especially Ethereum. If you win Ethereum, and I have to say it again, I'm going to have to bring this up one more time. I did say, 2 weeks ago now, you may want to sell some Bitcoin, or just load up on Ethereum and or sell Bitcoin to put into Ethereum. Because the price, I saw, some other stuff I studied. This was not out of the WebBot report, by the way. And I told you I made my move, and then I switched back shortly thereafter back into Bitcoin. That horse rode up a bit. I then cut that in half, what I had, sent the other half back to Ethereum, left the other half into Bitcoin, and now rode both up, although Bitcoin's back down a little bit today from 2,900, I think it was 27 something. Not that it's not expected, but on the other hand, the other half of Ethereum, my goodness. And what I was thinking at the time, I was telling you about the 2 Chinese exchanges that were coming online that would be allowing people to trade in Ethereum, and I thought that might be a big push for the price rising, because a bunch of people are going to flood into it. And you talk about China, that's a huge population on the planet. So did that contribute to this? I think so. But the other news is that, Vladimir Putin, I guess he met with the creator of Ethereum, and they're talking about blockchain technology for central banks in Russia and this and that. And I think that news also has now picked it up. So, maybe it was a bit of luck, maybe it was a bit of whatever. All I know is I'm glad to know that I said that, and I'm sure some people followed suit and are very happy with their Ethereum at the moment. I try to, whenever I'm not making any kind of moves, to just leave it 50-50, Bitcoin, Ethereum, with a little bit of play. You know, I got some over on that little trading platform or whatever that I'm kind of playing with. Which it's been running for technically like nonstop 5 days, maybe 4 or 5 days. I'll call it about 5 days. Yeah, probably about 5. And I think I've got 5 Bitcoin in there, or roughly. And it has produced 2/10 of a Bitcoin thus far as profit goes, which is just adding to your Bitcoin collection. So if I added 5 to it to play with, in 5 days, it gave me 5.2 Bitcoin, essentially is what that's saying. So again, I'm doing the math. If that's 2/10, let's say every 5 days, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Again, my theory of producing an additional Bitcoin per month appears to maybe that it was a good, thought. Again, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's a full Bitcoin every 5 days. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 days, technically speaking, not a month. But anyway, so that appears to be doing okay. I'm a little. I could mention this exchange, this trading platform. I've talked to the guys over there, but I'm a little bit reluctant because what if something happens? I mean, I looked into it. There's an API involved where you only allow the trading bot to do trade orders for you. It can't move funds out. It can't do this and that. It can't do any of that stuff. Not that there's funds to move out anyways. It's just trading. You don't give it market orders. You only allow it to do limit trades, which is specific price points. And you say, I want to trade, there's like 30 or 40 markets as far as cryptos go, all the altcoins. And you can pick, I want to trade up to 5. This one, this one, this one. Right now, I'm currently trading 3. But I recently I was doing 5 markets, and I was kind of looking at them like, okay, I think I'm going to cut that one off. Let me just put it back down to these 3. I kind of look at it day to day and just switch them out. But anyways, I'm a little reluctant to just tell you guys what it is, because I don't know who the owner of this thing is. I have no idea. I really don't. And what if there's that chance? That chance. I don't think it's going to happen, but there's always the chance that my 5 Bitcoin go up in smoke because someone took the money, or they took it somehow and traded it. I didn't, allow it, but somehow they did it, They traded all my coins for this other specific coin, in which they put a bunch of orders online that its bot made my Bitcoin go into this crappy coin, and they took off and ran. Naturally, there's gonna be people following suit on that. Hey, you just stole our money. We know who the exchange is. We know who owns the thing. I know it's out of Panama. I know that much. Like Panama City, Panama. And I'm not putting all my eggs in that basket, but again, I did put 5. I've talked to people. I have a subscriber or 2 that have been using it. One of them has been using it for a long time. He's never had any issues. It's worked for him. It's made profit for him. This is going back over a period of 2 years now. It was down for a while because it was using Polynyx, but their API, I guess, calls were too frequent for Polynyx. Their system wasn't able to handle it. So they went to Bittrex, and now it's on Bittrex, and that's where I just have it on autopilot. Do what you do, and every day or so throughout the day I'm looking, what's it at? Again, I really don't know if I want to tell anybody this, because if this bad scenario were to happen, you're gonna say, man, you told me about that. I thought it was legit, man. And I don't want that. I don't want that hanging over me. Again, you're going to be super happy with Bitcoin and Ethereum just riding the waves up. Just parking it, sitting in there and watching it. Again, I said always do 50-50. Bitcoin, Ethereum, and just sit back. You're going to be real happy. So I just want to kind of clear that because I've had a couple people ask about it. So anyways, that's it. Take care.